All right, everyone, let's talk about glazing. Glazing is a technique of brushing liquid glass onto your bisqueware. Bisqueware just means that your piece has been fired once and it's all white. It's ready to get some glaze. And what you do is you just decide on some colors. There's lots of color options. This one's called chartreuse. This is just a light green. And the way that I have these containers organized in the cabinet is that they are all labeled on the top and separated in 3 boxes. One box is orange, that has all the warm colors in it. So you'll find your reds, you'll find your yellows and oranges. And also browns and beige, things like that. In the blue box, you're gonna find cool colors. Those are the blues, the purples, and the greens. And then I have a white box, which just has white, black, and then 2 shades of gray. In order to glaze, you really want to think about what is going to be the main color of your piece. So I was thinking for this piece, I would be glazing the inside a light green and then the outside a different color. So I'm just going to start with the inside. Make sure when you're glazing that you use a glazing brush. These brushes have nice soft bristles. They're also located in the cabinet above the clay tools. There's a sign on that cabinet that says glazing brushes. You want to start with just the main color, and I do just want to talk about the consistency of the glaze. This is pretty thick, but this is actually pretty normal. So the glaze should be able to be kind of brushed on pretty easily, but it shouldn't fall off your brush, so it shouldn't be too drippy. Now there are some colors that are just naturally drippy, and those colors, there's not much you can do to make it thicker. However, if you find a glaze is dried out, you can add a little bit of water and stir it up. And in that situation, you should be able to reconstitute the glaze, put some water in it, and it should be usable. Now I've started to brush my glaze on. And the way that I want to do it is I'm starting in the middle and I'm starting to kind of go out because glazes need 3 layers of glaze for the color to come out nice. If you don't do 3 layers, it's really, really patchy and it doesn't look very good. But the good news is that the glaze dries really fast. So if you watch how I'm glazing and I'm going in a circle, almost like a spiral, the area in the middle is starting to already dry. So this is just a method to kind of get the whole thing glazed once, and then by the time I spiral out, I'm ready to do my second layer. That way, I'm not, putting the glaze everywhere and then having to sit and wait for it to dry. If you do little area at a time and work your way up or down or across, whatever you decide, then you don't have to sit and wait. It's important to remember how many layers you have done, because at cleanup time you need to know, okay, I've done 1 layer, I need to do 2 more, or whatever it might be. You don't really want to do more than 3 layers, with maybe the exception of purple, which tends to come out kind of patchy anyways. If you do too many layers, it gets really drippy. And that includes layering colors on top of each other. So let's say you do this all green and I want a red flower in the middle. Well, that's good and all, but if you do that, some of the green will show through. If it's way too many layers, like if you do 3 of each layer, then you're gonna see that that red flower is gonna drip. The one thing glaze is not good for is for details and layering colors. If you want lots of details and you want to layer colors, then you need to use something called underglaze. And I will be talking about that in a different video. All right, once you've done 1 layer, you can go ahead and start on the second layer. This isn't totally done, but for the sake of time, I'm just gonna show you just keep layering. It's good to use 1 color at a time. I don't have enough glazes for everybody to pick all the colors they want to use all at once. So once you're done with a color, put the lid on it, and then go put it back in the box and then pick the next color you want to use. I keep water at the table. This is really just to clean your brush between colors. If you need to add a little water, these glazes should not be very dry, but you can add water if you need to. And of course, I put my clay piece on a paper towel. So one really important rule that I kind of skipped is you never glaze the bottom of a piece. So if this bowl's gonna sit here, I have to leave that totally unglazed. If I glaze the bottom of this piece, then it's not gonna get loaded in the kiln. What happens is that glaze sticks to the shelf of the kiln and I won't be able to get it off. So if I ever find glaze on the bottom of a piece, I just don't load it in the kiln. The good news is you can take a sponge and sponge it off if you need to, if you accidentally glazed. If you have something like this that just stands on two little feet, you just leave these parts unglazed. You can glaze the rest. All right. Thanks for listening.